Well, let's take you to Vail this morning, shall we? This is a live look. It looks like, maybe 12 inches there, Jaden? That's
12 inches, that's good, yeah.
That's exciting. Heavy snow in the mountains all day, slick driving conditions, though, in the metro. 9 News is calling for a weather impact alert. All this active weather should clear out later this afternoon, just in time for the weekend.
All right, full forecast in just a second, but with these drop in temperatures, the city of Denver is activating its cold weather shelter plan. The Department of Housing Stability says it will have additional shelter space available from this afternoon around 1 o'clock until 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. We have a list of shelters right there on your screen. You can also find a list on the city's website. Good morning. Thanks for joining us here on a Friday, a snow day. I'm Drew Carney.
Love a snow day and a Friday. I'm Sam Shocker. Let's get right over to meteorologist Jaden Knowles with a check of your forecast. Jaden, we got some snow already in the backyard.
Finally some snow. I just went outside in the backyard and I saw the flakes coming down just a little bit. And guess what? We're going to see some more snow for the next couple of hours, especially as we head into this afternoon. Come follow me. We'll go talk about the weather real quick. You can see Fort Collins really coming down. And it's been coming down over the last hour or so, and that is expected to continue for the next couple of hours as well, really throughout the rest of the afternoon hours. So let's break down what we can expect. Of course, weather impact alert, that will continue throughout the rest of the day into really this evening. You can see we are tracking about 1 to 3 inches is possible for us across the metro area. The heavier bands of snow will be just towards the foothills and maybe even further down south towards the Palmer Divide. But looking at our winter alerts, they have now issued that winter weather advisory, including the metro area. That will go until 8 p.m. this evening. So we are expecting that steady snowfall. Let's go ahead and take a look at radar. As I just told you, we are starting to see some very light flakes across the metro area, especially here in Denver. It's really not showing up too well across the radar so far, but we are seeing that heavy snow bands up towards Fort Collins, especially over towards the I-70 corridor. So that's expecting to ramping up really around 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. So really prime commute hours. And we're not really talking about a whole lot of slick spots just quite yet. But I believe the main travel issue will be the blizzard conditions. We are expecting some breezy conditions, so visibility could be low at times. Current temperature is still in the upper 30s. We're not even down below freezing just quite yet. And then guess what? Heading into the next couple of days, especially this weekend, warm temperatures quickly return and we finally start to dry out. But we do have Matt Renew out towards the Eisenhower Johnson tunnels. Matt, how you doing so far? How's it? I see the snow coming down there.
Just a little bit of snow, Jaden, you know, overnight. Not a whole lot right now. In fact, it's just light snow even up here at the Eisenhower Johnson tunnels, but a little bit of snow. Trace amounts, maybe a half an inch in some places. But more, as we just heard, is on the way. Then we know March can bring a lot of snow, especially to the Colorado mountains. More coming throughout the day. You know, you're heading in or out of the mountains along I-70. Really not that bad at this hour. There is some lane recognition problems between Silverthorne and the Eisenhower Johnson tunnels where the snow's been packing up a little bit along the road. But really, things moving along pretty good, thanks in part to the early hour of the day. Not a lot of people on the roads right now. This comes at a good time, though, as spring break crowds are making their way to Colorado to do some skiing, and those are some pretty big crowds. Arguably one of the busiest months of the year, all put together with colleges all over and high schools coming to Colorado so families can vacation. A lot of people are going to be coming to Colorado. This snow will help freshen up the slopes a little bit more, especially as more falls throughout the day, and the snowpack really needs it because we're about 40% below average for this area. They could definitely use a little bit of snow, and it's starting to come down right now. Reporting from the Eisenhower Johnson tunnels, I'm Matt Renew, 9 News. Brianna, not really any problems on the roads right now, but we know that skier traffic is going to start picking up throughout the day, and so as the snow and the traffic picks up, we'll be keeping an eye on it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Thank you so much, Matt, for your reporting. Yeah, and that's kind of what we're seeing across the Denver metro area as well. For anyone taking 225 and Parker Road, earlier this morning, Denver police, they were investigating a crash that shut down southbound 225. That is no longer the case. We know several vehicles were involved and people were taken to the hospital. Now to I-25 down in Castle Rock, also pretty dry. I'm not seeing any wet road conditions, but very different than what we're seeing right near the Eisenhower Johnson tunnel. You can see it is wet out there. It is slick. And then same story for anyone taking I-25 near Harmony Road. So up north, so near Fort Collins. I do want to switch things over to our main maps, kind of show you those drive times. Earlier this morning, we had a crash in Brighton that already cleared up. Zooming into southbound I-25, where I just showed you dry road conditions. times. So southbound I-25 from 144th down to 76, only an 8-minute drive this morning. And if you're heading to Boulder, no issues to report yet. But of course, we will keep an eye if things change. Right now, your overall drive along Highway 36, only about 19 minutes.
Brianna, thank you. A 22-year-old man from Iowa faces murder charges in Utah, where investigators say he killed 3 women. During the investigation, police tracked him down in Colorado. The Utah Department of Public Safety says Ivan Miller is believed to have hidden a woman in a woman's shed before killing her and then stealing her car. They say he drove that car to a trailhead where he killed 2 other women before taking off in one of their cars. After the discoveries, police tracked that car into Colorado. Investigators say it was found abandoned yesterday morning, and after a brief search, Miller was taken into custody in Pagosa Springs. Court documents show he confessed to the killings, telling investigators he did it because he needed money. Investigators say the elderly victim did not appear to have any relationship to the 2 hiking victims. Their names have not been publicly released, and the women were in their 30s, 40s, and 80s.
An attorney is taking a plea deal in connection to an arson investigation from last year. 60-year-old Robert Working pleaded guilty yesterday to 2 misdemeanors that stem from being drunk with a gun in Arapahoe County last year. He was fined $300, ordered to perform community service, and sentenced to probation. As part of his plea deal, the felony arson charges that were filed after he was accused of setting his home on fire were dismissed. Working is best known as the one-time attorney for Aurora dentist James Craig. He had to withdraw from that role, though, after being charged with arson. Craig wound up being convicted for poisoning his wife to death and was sentenced to life in prison. All right, we're going to spring forward this weekend with the return of daylight saving time, and that means, unfortunately, we're going to lose an hour of sleep.
No, that lost hour of sleep could have serious consequences on the road. Right. 9 News reporter Courtney Yoon joins us live from the newsroom now. Courtney, here's the thing though. Crash data from Colorado State Patrol shows that deadly crashes increased after the time change.
Yes, that's right, Sam and Drew. Fatal car crashes in the U.S. spiked by 6% during the work week following daylight saving time. That's according to CU Boulder research from 2020. But Colorado's numbers are even higher than the national average. Colorado State Patrol analyzed 10 years of crash data for the work week before and after the switch to daylight saving time. CSP found the number of deadly crashes rose by nearly 26% in the week after the time change. That spike didn't show up in other crash types during the same time frame. Injury crashes actually dropped slightly, and property damage crashes only rose about 2%. A reminder of how dangerous drowsy driving can be. Troopers say fatigue plays a role in hundreds of crashes each year. Last year, CSP investigated 755 fatigue-related crashes across the state. In 2025, those crashes injured 202 people and killed 13, which is a 6.7% increase compared to the year before.
Everybody knows that daylight savings time is coming. So the night before, maybe sleep earlier than you normally would. If you feel like you're too tired, then maybe don't get on the road, maybe stay home.
Troopers say driving while sleepy affects your attention, judgment, coordination, and reaction time, all critical for safe driving. So CSP says be sure to plan for the time change, get enough rest, and be alert on the road. Live in the newsroom, Courtney Yoon, 9 News.
All right, thank you, Courtney. City transportation officials, meanwhile, are considering installing the city's first automated speed enforcement cameras after a record 93 people were killed on local roads last year. The cameras would be placed along Federal Boulevard and Alameda Avenue and would target drivers traveling more than 10 miles an hour over the speed limit. Officials said the proposal builds on a broader safety initiative announced in 2024 aimed at reducing speeding and serious crashes. Some council members have raised concerns about the potential impacts here on lower income communities, but business owners say speeding is really a growing problem.
It's very loud. There is a lot of speeding motorcycles, speeding cars. There is a lot of people that are not, abiding with this speed. They are going at full speed.
The program still requires final approval from City Council, with an ordinance expected to be introduced here in the coming weeks. In a statement to 9 News, Dottie says it's looking to deploy the cameras sometime this year.
Denver Public Schools is working on a policy to limit immigration agents' access to campus. A first vote could happen later this month. District leaders listened to public comment on the policy for the first time last night. Several students spoke in favor. If it is approved, the policy would designate all district-managed properties as safe zones. That includes buildings, grounds, bus stops, and school events. The policy would also require ICE agents and other federal officials to present a warrant before accessing school property, records, or video. Some information would be limited. Denver schools do not collect information on the immigration status of families. Colorado Democrats are looking to tackle swipe fees on sales taxes. So that refers to the 2 to 3% that the credit card companies charge retailers every time a customer uses a credit card to buy something. This was first reported by our partners at the Denver Gazette. Lawmakers tried to tackle the issue last year, introducing legislation that would have limited how all credit card companies could set fees. This year's version only applies to banks that issue credit cards with at least $60 billion in assets. That covers the largest banks in the country, which control about 80% of credit cards, also according to the Gazette.
The U.S. has a shortage of nearly 4,000 air traffic controllers. So with that in mind, Ames Community College in Greeley is providing a fast track for people who want to fill those roles. Ames is now one of only 11 schools around the country to offer the Enhanced Air Traffic Collegiate Training Initiative. It can move graduates directly from the classroom to the job, bypassing the FAA's training academy in Oklahoma.
There is an extreme shortage, I would say, of air traffic controllers right now, and the idea is to make more pathways to train air traffic controllers.
For years, the only path to become a controller was to go through that training academy, but limited spots make the wait long and make the shortage even worse.
More than 20 states, including Colorado, have filed a lawsuit over President Trump's new global tariffs imposed after a Supreme Court ruling. Last month, the High Court struck down President Trump's tariffs he imposed last year under an emergency powers law. Shortly after, he invoked Section 122 of a 1974 trade law to slap on a 10% tariff with plans to raise it to 15%. The Democratic attorneys general and governors in the lawsuit argue that President Trump is overstepping his power. The suit says Section 122 was intended for specific and limited circumstances. President Trump has said the tariffs are essential to reduce America's trade deficits. Colorado Democratic Treasurer Dave Young says if the tariffs continue, it will cost the state between $450 and $800 million.